how are tariffs gonna affect the black community? So I know y'all been, hearing this all over this word, tariff, tariff, Trump. That's all he talking about. That seemed to be all that he care about right now is tariffs. So I want to talk about that and talk about it from a standpoint of how it's going to affect our people, affect people of color. You know what I mean? Not just the black community, but people of color in general. So a tariff is basically a tax that's put on imported goods. So basically, most of our clothes are made in China. When China sends us, let's say it's just some t-shirts or something like that, now there's going to be an extra tax put on top of those shirts. So then basically the store is going to have to pay more to get those shirts. So then in return, the store is going to have to charge us more to actually purchase those shirts. And so that's something that, I mean, from across the board is going to affect us in a lot of ways. I think 60 or 70% of fruits, vegetables, and nuts are imported from Mexico. So that means that not only are eggs skyrocketing and going up, but pretty soon the cost of food is about to go up and folks aren't going to be able to afford to even go to the grocery store and get something to eat. And it's crazy because on one end, it definitely looks and seems like it's a bad thing because I mean, who wants to pay more for food or for clothing or things like that? But they're saying that already in one day that the US economy has made over $2 trillion already just off of some of these tariffs that have been put in place. Another example that I can give you is like a store like Walmart. Walmart, they say that about 70% of the items in Walmart are imports. They come from, foreign places. So let's say you go to Walmart, you buy a vacuum cleaner. Or no, let me put it like this. Walmart buys a vacuum cleaner from China. They spend $100 on this vacuum. Now, normally Walmart would, maybe sell it for like 150 bucks and they make $50 on it. But now with these tariffs that are put in place, like let's say I believe they're talking about 10% tariffs. So now that means that Walmart is going to have to buy that same vacuum cleaner for $110, which means that they're going to have to sell it to us for 160. And so that might not sound like a lot, but when you start adding that up like across a bunch of products, whether it's food, clothing, vacuum cleaners, whatever, that's gonna, increase the money that we're spending. Like they're saying that US households are gonna be spending between two to 4,000 extra dollars a year just in groceries and different goods that are imported. It's definitely gonna affect the community heavily. It's gonna make things a lot harder. I mean, we thought it was crazy with these eggs going up in prices, but imagine when you go into the store and try to buy some apples or try to buy an orange or something like that, and the prices was even higher. So it's definitely going to affect us in a bunch of different ways. A big part of these tariffs and what Trump's trying to do is looking to bring more business back here to America. I know that there's a lot of talk where people are like, man, well, who's going to work in these factories? The whole Make America Great Again theme sounds like Trump is trying to put us back in slavery and put us back into those times. These companies are going to start, potentially building factories here to start creating goods here, which on one end could, boost the economy, increase jobs. One huge factor with these tariffs is that Trump is trying to bring basically more companies here to the US, trying to get more goods manufactured and produced here in the US, which on one end will bring more jobs, will help to boost revenue and things like that. But then a lot of people, the mindset that this whole Make America Great Again theme is basically a ploy, to put us back in slavery, or where it's like, okay, people of color are going to be forced to, do manual labor, things like that. If you look at it though, bringing more jobs here to the US, it can be a good thing. But then on the opposite spectrum, these goods that are being imported from these other countries, the benefit from these other countries and for us is that we're able to get these goods at a low price because the wages overseas are a lot less than they are here. So that's going to be interesting where Like let's say like a clothing manufacturer over in Bangladesh, or somewhere over in China, they're making clothes, shirts, jeans, things like that. Over here in the US, we're not going for making $6 an hour. Almost can't even afford to live off of that or those low wages that they, get overseas. So it's going to be difficult and definitely going to be really interesting to see how this all works and how this all plays out. Because on one end, it seems like it'll be bringing more jobs here, but on the other end, it does seem like it's going to be forcing people to, do work for lower wages, or again, like the prices of items are going to be going up because the cost of actually producing them is, going to be going up much higher. So the tariffs will definitely cause inflation, with the prices of everything going up, which then in return could also potentially cause a recession, which is something that I'm nervous about because it's like, are we going to have like another Great Depression? We try to produce more goods here in the US, but it's just not cost effective to do these things. So that's something that's interesting and something that we you got to look out for. So when the pandemic hit, we experienced high prices at the grocery stores and different places like that. So the tariffs and what's happening right now is gonna bring that same type of scare, I think, to us where the prices of goods are gonna be going up, similar to how it was during the pandemic. But what I would say is, unlike the pandemic, like we shouldn't go out and be loading up on toilet paper and loading up on water and all of that stuff because again, like right now, even Trump's given, these other countries 90 days to, come up with better pricing and better ways to, be able to import goods to us, so that maybe we don't have to build so many factories over here. Because another thing is that there are so many regulations here in the US that don't allow us to dig as deep in the ground to you get like some of these rare metals and different things like that to build some of these products. Also, something that I saw is that some of these other countries don't have the same types of regulations that we have. So, like in the clothing industry, there may be a place like Bangladesh where they're allowing like different chemicals to wash away, like in their waterways, and they have different ways that they're disposing some of these different chemicals and products and things like that, which isn't helping the environment, isn't helping for us to have like clean water to drink and things like that. So, that's another issue where if they bring a lot of these other companies here to the US, like how much more pollution are we gonna have? We still right now are dealing with where in parts of Mississippi, Flint, Michigan, like there's still places where folks like don't have clean water to drink, which is crazy to me. Like I still can't understand. I can't even really fathom that thought. Backdoor Sam came to Off the Porch and he brought a bottle of water from Mississippi, from and he from Jackson, Mississippi, or from what I'm saying, that area. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, because again, like in 2025, for us to say here in America that we still have places where you can't drink clean water, like that just doesn't seem realistic. So that could be another consequence if we do bring some of this work back here to America, or some of these factories, and we build some of these factories here in the U.S. Is that it's like, where are we going to dump this waste that comes from these different companies? So now China has retaliated by putting 10 to 15% levies on American products. And they're also blacklisting like different American companies and goods and things like that. So this is not a one-sided thing where that means that even over there, they saying, all right, you know what? Like y'all want to tax our goods? Fuck it. Like we gonna just make everything here in-house and we not gonna accept any imports from you guys in the US. So it's going both ways. This is something where like as us here in America, we just need to like stay privy of like what's going on, stay up to date. But again, like I said, like don't panic. Don't run to the store and buy up all the toilet paper. Just like with TikTok and all that, with the TikTok ban and all that. Like there's time being given so that we can get, all of this figured out. And try to get it worked out so that these prices don't skyrocket like we think they are. Stores like Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, like man, they about to have to change their names. Like Family Dollar about to be Family C Note. Shit, Dollar Tree about to have to change their name to $20 tree, $50 tree, something, because I feel like the store Everything's a Dollar has already been, out of business or whatever. But yo, like everything that's about to go on, like it's gonna be crazy even shopping at like some of these stores where we would go into just to get products a little cheaper, than they were. So it's gonna be interesting, y'all. It's gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna affect the black community. I can't say it's only gonna affect the community in a negative way because, like I was saying earlier, it's definitely gonna generate jobs because we're gonna be producing more products here in the US. And it's gonna boost the economy as well. See, the other thing with this is that the US has been like we hear about like how we're in debt, how the US is in debt. And so a part of these tariffs is, or no, the reason for these tariffs is to actually work towards pushing America out of that incredible debt that we've been in for years. And so, not saying that it's going to be done just within this 4-year term. I mean, because this is something that had even been presented for years to do, but Trump is one of the only people who actually got the balls to actually go and set this up and do this. So I don't know. It's like I know y'all gonna look at this and probably be like, man, he voted for Trump. He a Trumpster, whatever. Like he MAGA, and that's not the case. I'm a realist though, and I look at things. I play devil's advocate, and I look at the good and bad in things. And with me speaking and talking about these types of things, that's just what I want, other people to do, is to be able to just look at this perspective or look at things from a different perspective and see possibly how can this be good. But then also let's talk about how this can negatively affect us. So, I think with them trying to like fix the debt like here in the country that we have, and and then another thing with it is that they're saying that these tariffs, if this is successful, then certain people here in the US, I believe, like if you make 150,000 a year, then you won't have income tax. So that within itself is crazy because I mean, income tax is one of the most grueling things, man. You see your check and you see how much money they take out for stuff that we have no idea what it's for. Well, these tariffs are supposed to help it to where, folks that's working jobs and, if you're making 150 grand, then you will, be granted, the opportunity to not have to pay income tax, which is crazy. And I know some of y'all gonna be looking at this and be like, man, who making 150? Who making? But man, the way that money is working nowadays and all of that, $150,000 now is basically like you making $80,000 or $100,000. So you really got to look at it like that. And a lot of us got to get our weight up. You know what I mean? Like shit. If we feel like we not in that tax bracket or whatever, then I mean, it's not gonna work for everybody. It's not gonna be available for everybody. But for some people, it's gonna benefit. And not just the rich people, not just the billionaires. So I just want us to look at both sides of it because on one end it can be difficult. Or this can cause a strain like here in the country. But I think like if we look at this like more from a long term and more from a visionary perspective, we can see that like this is gonna help to like lower the deficit that the country is in and help to build more wealth here in the US. And that's real spit from your boy Spit. Yes, sir.